even though the Navi sees the actual reality. And the Chacham only knows about it. This is the Mitzias, and so does the Mitzias. But the Mitzias of the high Madriga that the Chacham perceives is preferable, or Odi, is preferable to the mahus of the law Madriga. And we explained the principle in this because the essential etzem that comes through chochmah cannot be, the reason it cannot be comprehended because that really is not comprehensible. But the ha'ora from that is more significant than the mahus of a law Madriga, as we illustrated in various ways. Okay, and this is why neshamas are longing for the for neshiki. Now, in the second line on page 7, Yoyser be neshamas. Then, particularly when it comes to neshamas, besides the fact that the general principle that neshikin bring out a higher madriga, but it's a higher madriga. Particularly, this becomes more significant in the shams. She'ei mibchina zivu gufni. But in the shamas, they come from that which is called zivu gufni. Zivu gufni, this is the zivuk that comes in midas. So the neshamas have an actual element of eloquence. So they have, this is zivu gufni. In that way, they're superior to malachim. But then, kishayesh degilui bechinas neshikin gamkin, when there is along with that the sense of bechinas neshikin, also of neshikin, that which comes from the high madriga from Avo, Arei is chabrus the Beis madrigas. So that represents a joining of these two madrigas, namely neshikin v'gufni. Neshikin, this is the zivuk neshikin, which is a ruchni zivuk, and then there is also the gufni. Shalidei zeh nasa yisri ma'ilo gam b'hagufni. So it is not merely that he also has the other mind, but as a result of that, there is an effect on the gufni itself. What is the effect on the gufni? The gufni is from a mitzias or the from midas, and this is what we're going to try to understand. The alidei gilui ha'ora ho'elyoina, where, as a result, by the effect of a gilui ha'ora ho'elyoina, of this higher ha'ora, only a reflection. Alidei zeh, as a result of that, hasagah hamahus, the mahus element that is normally the level of the neshama, who gam came be'efen alo yesir. Then the mahus element becomes also be'efen alo yesir in a superior manner. So we'll try to focus in as much as possible to explain the Sinyan. We explained that the ha'ora and yena, what is the principle behind the ha'ora, which is only a reflection, but it comes from a high madriga. The high madriga, the statement that comes along the high madriga is, and this is, let me step back a second. We only have a ha'ora. We don't have the real thing. All a reflection, an allusion, a sense of it. We don't have the real thing. But the effect of a sense of this high madrega gives a completely different sense of the reality. Like we always point out, the Rambam says that there is the principle of motzui rishon. What does motzui rishon mean? Motzui rishon means a presence that that we know not as a result of understanding where it's coming from. Understanding where it's coming from is a wonderful thing. It gives a hamahus, it gives a complete comprehension. When you have motzui rishon, you don't have an understanding of where it's coming from. You don't understand what its presence represents. But there's a completely different sense. This is motzui rishon, this is the reality itself. The principle and there is this motzui rishon present. That brings a different sense of the value and the reality of the lower madrigas. Hasagah hamahus. The tangible mashal for this, on our level, we have many mashalim, but the most obvious one, as we mentioned many times, the halacha is that Shabbos, by the meal, you have to enjoy the meal. Enjoying a meal means that the meal has to be a tasty food, and you have to eat it and enjoy it. Then there is a completely different dimension here. It is necessary that you should have candles so that you should be able to see the food you eat. What does this seeing the food have to do? How does that affect the taste of the food? It does not. It does not affect the taste of the food. But seeing the food gets you to realize that the taste of the food that you're getting, the food from which you had this taste, is a real presence. Because sight is a ruchnisdike experience. Sight is not, at the time, it's not compelling physically. The reason you see it is because it's true, because it's real. It's a godly creation. You know it not because it affects you, but because God said it's there. That sight element that enhances, not only enhances, but that really brings the oinek. Without that, there is not real oinek. Without sight, there's not real oinek, even though the food is tasty. Nevertheless, there is not the real oinek. What is the difference between the real oinek? Without seeing the food, you can also taste the food. The pleasantness of this taste and so forth. This is something which you are projecting. You are trying to experience. It's an imaginary type of reality. But if the food is real, that you see it, then that experience itself becomes real.
So just the tasting, you have to project it?
Tasting, you have to project.
Saying seeing it is more real than even having it in
Seeing
your
brings
mouth.
it in a sense of reality that makes it taste a real. Oh yeah, there is real food over here, and that's what I'm tasting. In other words, the taste without sight is an afterthought. Oh yeah, it was tasty.
the seeing here is like the ha'ara, is that correct?
Seeing is a
Higher
ha'ara.
level. What?
Yes, seeing is a ha'ara.
Food, this is the essence.
This is the essence. The taste is the essence. But the ha'ara of seeing gives it a sense of reality. And that enhances it sholei b'yarach. Sholei b'yarach means in a totally different category. Even though it's only a ha'ara.
There it is. It was just the power you expect.
Let us project to a more obvious situation. What if you taste? You have a simulated taste. Really, a simulated taste. It's exactly the same taste, but there is not the actual food there. From a taste perspective, there's no difference. But from the point of a personal appreciation, it's sholei b'yarach. This is what the ha'ara from Hayim brings. The reason that what we get in sight is only ha'ara is that the reality that the sight brings cannot come through but through a ha'ara. Like we always give the mashal of the host and the guest. So the host is hosting the guest for dinner. The dinner is not a secondary thing. This is a very important thing. This is the action on the part of the host and the guest, how they're participating together, and that he is actually, he wants him to enjoy this food. So there is a real interaction. And then we say the overall and the most important aspect of this entire encounter is not what transpires between them in terms of what he gives them, but the actual presence. This presence cannot be transmitted but through a ha'ara. It is not by touching, it's not it's not even by talking to each other.
Wait, but you have him actually there, so it's not.
You have him actually there, that's it. And what of him transmits to you?
But that's just what of him transmits to you. That's only ha'ara.
That's only ha'ara.
Even though he's altogether there, but you just get a.
He's there, but to you get from that a ha'ara.
It's only possible to
Hmm?
It's only possible to
It's only possible. That's it. And the high madrid can only come through ha'ara, because the essence cannot be transmitted. It always remains in the essence.
If you were just sitting in the corner learning and ignoring you wouldn't even get a ha'ara. It wouldn't even be a ha'ara there. He didn't care, he was just.
If he's ignoring you, then you don't have that element at all. That's true. It's interesting. Along with that, the Alter Rebbe explains that a teacher is teaching, there's a phenomenal difference, a fundamental difference, whether he is intending to teach or he is learning for himself and interpreting his learning, and you are eavesdropping. And you hear the whole explanation exactly as he would be presenting it to you. And yet, the intent in presenting makes a categorical difference. That's only ha'ara. Then there is the bond on the ha'ara level. But this ha'ara connects to the essence. Connecting to the essence is more significant than having the actual teaching itself. We always quote Chassidus, always quotes in the Gemara what Rebbe, Rabbeinu HaKodesh said, that I'm superior to my Chaveri. Why? Because I was able to see Reb Meir when he said the shir. Me'achuro. And therefore, I have that special reality from this shir. Okay. And this is what we're saying here. Neshamas are vying for the Zivuk Neshikin, the Zivuk Ruchni, because Neshikin enhance. Besides that, Neshikin bring a high madriga, but that high madriga enhances the experience of the hasagah hamahus. Hasagah hamahus will be able from Naila Yesef. Hasagah hamahus is in a superior manner. I'd like to try and kind of put this into words. How is hasagah hamahus be from Naila Yesef? Hasagah hamahus is a personal understanding, a personal experience. It is engaging your own seichel. You understand because you have seichel. That's hasagah hamahus. In this inyam it says that the hasagah hamahus is be'efel naila yesef. What is the efel naila? What is superior way? The superior way is that then the hasagah hamahus is not that I understand. I understand it because my Rebbe understands it. That's a completely different sense of understanding. It's a different level of understanding. There, the hasagah of the Rab is transmitted to the Talmud, not in the Talmud's chushim, by the Talmud's understanding, but the hasagah of the Rab itself. I understand because the Rab understands. That's a completely different level of hasagah. This is the pshat. The hasagah hamahus is be'efel naila yesef. That opens up a perspective and a view that on his own, with his own chushim, he would never have.
Almost sounds like not hasagah because it's outside of his kelim, basically.
No, it's not outside of his kelim, but it enhances his kelim. It is with his kelim. Okay. Good. Let me explain.
But he doesn't understand what his Rav understands.
Okay, I want to explain as we're going along. Hasagah hamahus, hasagah seichel, comes in the following process. Just anything in Gashmis. What's the matter? comes in the following process. The process is, I don't understand, now I understand. I don't understand, now here's a difficulty. And, okay, from this not understanding, I have an answer, I have a question, I have an answer to the question. This is hasagah hamahus. When there is the ha'ora of the high madrega, then this understanding comes directly from the source, not through my negative, from my shortcoming, from not understanding.
There's no question that precedes it.
It doesn't come as a result of answering the question. It is seeing the truth of it to start. Normally we say Yisrael hoy mitay hacheshech. So yes, it's true. Yisrael hoy mitay hacheshech, because mitay hacheshech you're revealing that Yisrael, that superiority. But the real Yisrael is when it comes directly from the source itself. That's not possible normally to get. But the ha'ora, it comes from the ha'ora. But you understand it not because you understand, but because the Rav understands.
One more time. Usually we say Or min chochmah has superiority. Light that came after darkness is better. Right here we're saying no. The light directly is superior.
So I'm saying, because when Yisrael mitay ha'choshech, the Yisrael ha'oir mitay ha'choshech means that you found the oil that's within your nefesh, within your seichel. As a result of struggling with the chochmah, you found the oil within your seichel. But when you say that there is a ha'ora of madrega elyono, then you found the oil within the seichel of the Rav, of the source. It's a different kind of oil.
Right.
First way we explained Yisrael na'or mitay ha'choshech is seeming to explain exactly this point. In other words, you bring out a light that's on the level of the etzem. A light that's
Of the, that's right.
This is the
where
ha'ara.
is it
This is the
found?
ha'ara, basically.
But where is it found?
In the Rav.
No.
From you.
From your seichel. Your seichel, you struggle with the chochmah, and it brings out the depth of the seichel. Whereas here, it goes directly to the source. There in Yisrael mitay ha'choshech, now when the Rabbi is teaching you, and you have a difficulty understanding, and you struggle with it, and it brings out from your seichel, from your nefesh, the depth of this language, of this seichel. But here, this is a different thing. This is directly from the source.
Previously we've so discounted this. The student who was born knowing all of Torah, he got it directly.
No, you didn't get anything. See, that's the whole thing. A student was born knowing all of Torah and does not have a sense that it's being given to him. He has it. The Yisrael over here is he's receiving it from the Rav.
But here too, without any question first, no negativity. It's like a direct.
But he doesn't even know what he knows.
By the one born knowing everything, he doesn't know what he knows. But this one who comes and receives directly from the Rav, he does know. He does know what he knows now.
But he knows it not with his koyach, with his seichel, with the Rav's seichel.
What's the ha'ara in the mashal?
Because he connects to the Rav, he knows it because the Rav knows. What?
What is this different from the knowing he has by struggling himself?
Right. Struggling himself is from Yisrael mitay ha'choshech. He had a kasha and he has an answer. It's a wonderful thing. This is Yisrael mitay ha'choshech. But when you have a ha'orem, a madrego elyono, there you see, there is not a helm to begin with. Why is there not a helm to begin with? Because this is not something that can be now.
How about when the Rav is the Rav?
Like we said, just one second. Like we say all the time. The Rambam says, the first principle is so nice. How do you have a motivation if you don't have a seichel? Where do you get that knowledge from?
He gives it to you.
Huh? Where do you get knowledge from? It's from the reality itself. You don't obtain that knowledge. That knowledge does not come through a process. Because he is there, that's how you know it. Like the host is there, that's how you have it. Yeah.
What's the lighter?
Huh?
The lighter means something.
I'm sorry?
The lighter is already something.
The what?
Lighter. Lighter sheyash.
Oh, later, yeah.
Means that he has to labor in it. It's not.
Yeah. So that's the later Shasha Motzadisha, that means like this. The sense that there is a Motzadisha, he has Mitzad the Motzadisha. But in order to bring that sense into Seichel, into chochmah, you have to bring it down into Yidiyah.
How?
You have to be misboinen in that reality. That's the way it becomes, that's bringing it in Seichel. But the motivation, the reality of motivation you have because it's a motivation. That you have because it's a motivation.
And because you have a neshama whose sense is there.
No, that's not because of the neshama, that's not the bitla neshama. The motivation principle is not I know what the motivation is. Motivation principle is that there is nothing, I don't have anything except that there is only a motivation. It's something which is being given to me. Like we discussed many times. The Alter Rebbe explains, am I interrupting somebody in question? The Alter Rebbe explains in Chinuch Kodem, Sheba Yipil Tzadik V'Kom. It's a really phenomenal statement. Sheba Yipil Tzadik V'Kom. A Tzadik, by the Alter Rebbe's definition, is a supreme individual. He had reached the essence of his chochmah. He has learned kol ha'Torah kula. And on top of that, he was mizboinen. He brought out. He has the highest. He is Abba v'Yira on the constant basis. That's it. And yet, it's possible for him to fall. But when he falls, he'll rise up again. The Rebbe asks, what happens to this tzaddik? He explains why there is a fall and so forth, because it's always high madrega. But what maintains him during his fall? That's the question. What keeps him afloat during the fall? In other words, even though he has to fall, because that's a process of growth, but there has to be something that he cannot possibly lose. Otherwise he would fall and crash. What holds him up afloat during the fall? That's the Alter Rebbe's question. And what is the answer?
That as a child, there's a given truth developed into time.
Well, how did he get the given truth?
From his mother.
From his mother, yes. What is the meaning from that? What is significant from that? The mother is more reliable than his Rebbe?
He just took it completely.
It's direct.
That's the
But
mother.
there he had it did not come to him through his accepting it, through his judgment. Didn't go through his process. He took what was given. He knows it, not because he knows it, but because his mommy knows it. That is That is the real, that is the supreme level of knowledge. That cannot be lost. Because it doesn't go through the process of personal judgment. I know it because it's real. It cannot not be known. It's reaching mamish to the essence.
So over there, that's a mashal for this Matzah Rishon knowledge that everyone has? Or this is not a mashal, this is in other words, is that bringing out over there? Sorry, maybe this is wrong place to ask it, but that's referring to this kind of primary knowledge that everybody has?
The truth is that the inherent motivation knowledge precedes that. But that inherent motivation knowledge needs to be aroused, needs to be revealed. And it is the teaching of his mother that reveals it. So it revealed through the teaching of his mother. Yeah.
What is the last point? And it's the teaching of the Rav that does what?
That reveals it. The teaching of the mother.
What he's getting from his Rav is the revelation of this original knowledge.
Right.
Mother.
The mother. So this, this reveals his inherent initial knowledge. This knowledge is not because he knows it, but because that's the only truth there is. That's the truth that he is. The motivation. I've given many times this following illustration. These are such fine things. If you see this cup on this table, remember that one? You see the cup on the table. Do you have any doubt as to the fact that this cup was put down by a person here? That's funny.
Take a picture of the cup.
Do you have any doubt? Do you need any proof that this cup was put down here by a human being?
No.
You're 100% sure. So sure you can swear to it, so to speak. Okay. Compare that surety to a slightly different phenomenon. You see me putting it down.
The first way, it's sort of coming from you a little bit. You have to, but this way, there's no,
you know that because it's true, not because you know it. That's connected to this is the motivation. Doesn't go through your faculties of deduction, of knowing. This is the motivation. This is the degilui, ha'ora of a higher madrega. It's only ha'ora, because when you see it, like I once asked this question. Somebody who had a scientific background says, no, when you see it, you just have to accept it. But if you deduce it, then you have to logically have a logical imperative in this. This is much stronger. That's the blind mind. Reality is dark. Real knowledge is when you're in the dark. This is exactly what Torah, what we, Baruch Hashem, don't have any problem with. I literally had this kind of experience. I had a group of students. I asked a question. some of them were just stumped by the question. Somebody who is very smart came back with this thing. Where are you coming from? Like from Mars. On one said, of course, this is reality itself. This one was a real student. he was learning for really accepting, but his mind opened up. What kind of thing is this? This is reality.
Can I just ask a question about the mashal?
Mm-hmm.
This mashal, the Rav, and the Or Min HaChoshech. In other words,
And what?
the Mitar HaChoshech. The Rav is trying to give over something to the student, and the student really can't chop it, or is not able to chop it, even though he's really trying to get it from the Rav. And then he, for whatever, he keeps listening, he works on it, and then gets it. That we would consider or Mitar HaChoshech, even though it's coming from the Rav. It's because it's coming through the faculties of the student. He finally.
What would do a process that he doesn't know? Now he's struggling. Now he comprehends it. Yes, hasagah hamahus.
Okay, but what would then be the ha'ara, the straight ha'ara? Where in the mashal?
Straight ha'ara is when there is this particular beetle to the Rav, and his primary interest of the student is not what I understand, but what does the Rav say? This connects him to a different level of everyone knows it says the Maimar from the Chassidus Maimar, right? That the beetle that the Talmud is supposed to have when the Rav is saying his Torah is he's not judging with his seichel. He is drooling at the time. As he says, a mate was meir. He's completely bottled. Then he's taking on the Rav.
But he still has to, okay.
This is, if there is that type of beetle, this is only, a chassid in the Rebbe. This is not a regular thing.
But he still would have to labor to, he still would have to labor to.
Afterwards, it's incumbent upon him to understand it. Like we said,
not because he wants to, but because the Rebbe wants him to know this.
We said the Motzei Dishing, if on the Rambam said the Motzei Dishing, this is inherent reality. And then later Sheyesh Motzei Dishing, this is something which he has to labor. He has to bring it to his conscious, like we say, Shivisi Hashem Noegis, we said yesterday. Shivisi Hashem Noegis, Hashem is Noegis, that's a fact. What is necessary is that this fact should be in a conscious state constantly. That's another. The world should not block off this reality. It's not there. I know the world, and because it is a world, therefore I know that there is a creator. This is furthest thing from this truth. All right,
In this mashal they have with the Rav and the Talmud, what is the ha'ara?
The presence of the Rav per se is a ha'ara. The words that he says, this is a Mamash Seichel. But the presence of the Rav is ha'ara. There's nothing transmitted there. The ha'ara is, I know that my Rav understands it. That's a ha'ara from Seichel Rav. Huh?
I trust that he understands it. You see that he understands it?
Well, yes, I trust. I know it because my Rav knows.
That would seem to be a necessary component to being able to labor on it yourself. I mean, it's like finding a needle in a haystack without, if you're just looking for it yourself without having knowledge that it's there, you're
Not
never
necessarily. I mean, yes, that's in the truth level it is a component, but it's not necessarily. It's not a prerequisite to getting the seichel. It can be the other seichel to discussing it and to throwing it around b'choshech until you understand what was said.
said recently that the koyach of Amunah comes as a neshama koyach, that the neshama senses the motivation. Now it's being said more that it's like the neshama is just little what is being given.
Koyach Amunah is the epitome of bittul.
Well, we use the word the neshama senses. Is that
Through bittul.
just the Eid has that koyach?
This bittul, this only is. There's a lower levels, seichel and so forth, but but the Amunah mamash is on by
Rabbi Paltiel?
because Amunah mamash connects it directly to Elokus. It is not I know it. It is the reality itself. Yes, Bono.
Like the air is being given to us. Is that
What?
It's like the air.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, Bono.
So this effect, this aura of loud presence, it changes the way he understands the mahus hasagah, or it makes the mahus hasagah into a different quality, a different level of his amtus, of reality, of certainty by him. What is
Okay,
the
so
effect?
let's see inside. Okay, let's see inside the Maimer how the Rebbe presents. He says, okay, 4 lines from the top. Yalidei gilui haoreh ha'elyono, alidei zeh hasagah hamahus hu gam kein beifen alloyes. Because there is a gilui haoreh ha'elyono, so therefore the hasagah hamahus, which is a real hasagah that goes through his seichel, is in a higher manner. And as we explained, what this statement is saying, because that this hasagah hamahus is not going through the struggle of no and yes, but he has hasagah hamahus because he sees the gilui haoreh elyono. So right away he accepts, he sees the truth of this mahus. Or another variation, another aspect that can explain why there is the special milah of getting the haorah after you have the mahus. That as a result of this gilui haorah, nimshach hamahus lemadrego elyono yoiseh. Then the mahus is drawn from a higher madrega. This is a different thing in a way. The mahus haseichel itself is drawn from a high madrega. Because there is the haorah, the gilui haorah.
So did this answer my question?
Yes.
Could you explain how?
The way it did. That either the hasagah hamahus is be'efem na'la yesef, is in a higher way. I mean, in other words, the hasagah hamahus is in a clearer and a more real manner. Hasagah hamahus, or that the hamshokah of the hamahus comes from a higher madrig.
And this actually happens from the presence of the Rav per se.
Right. This is the degilui ha'ora. The presence of the Rav itself, by his presence itself, does not do it. This is only if there is a gilui ha'ora. In other words, when you relate to his presence. And how is it they relate to the presence? Then this is what the Gemara says that, there's an interesting Gemara. Talking about a hodos. A hodos, the best hodos is a hodos that has 3 leaves coming out from the same stalk, from the same source, root. Rav Kahana said that 1 and 2 is also good. Which means there are 2 leaves coming out from the same stalk, and 1 is a little bit below it, or higher. So 1 and 2 is also good. That's what Rav Kahana said. So then there was a Talmud of Rav Kahana, who was mahadir to take 1 and 2, rather than 3. Why? So Rav Kahana ever said it's a hiddush? Because no feet mit pumi de Rav Kahana. This came out of Rav Kahana's mouth. This is the dearest thing. This is what in the Gemara. Even the no feet mit pumi de Rav Kahana. You thought you invented about the Chassidus, right? And this is legal people. They don't know what it is.
Wait, and that's a good student. Meanwhile, he's okay. I mean, maybe it's kasha, but he's taken it out of context.
What?
He's taken it out of context. I mean, I must be missing the point.
To him, the reason he does mitzvahs because Rav Kahana told him to. Not in Puma Kahana, that is his thing.
I don't get that point.
This is like by us sleeping in the sukkah.
What?
And not this is by us not sleeping in the sukkah.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I said to Rebbe.
That's right. A Hansa Sikha. Not in Puma Rav Kahana. Nice.
I missed the point. He does it because of mitzvahs, because of Kahana told him.
Yeah.
Not because of the Rebbe taught. I mean,
He doesn't have a reality. He knows that the Rebbe told him because Rav Kahana told him.
and that's the point here to us that about the horror. This
So I'm saying that the gili ha'ora, that's a gili ha'ora. Like ha'ora, there's always there, the Rav is there. Gili ha'ora means that you sense his presence. And there's a gili ha'ora, then the hamshachas hamahus is also from a high madrig. We'll see if this is very difficult to really dig in at this moment. Maybe as we go through, I'll have a chance to. Okay. So the Rebbe explains, chochmah as in the case, as we said before, the chocham odif minovi. And the Indian that chocham odif minovi. This is to demonstrate a situation where there is a gilui of a high madrege, of a high ha'ora, that enhances the mahus. They say chocham odif minov. Like we explained before, the chocham is preferable to a nov. Why? Because he reaches into the ha'ora, but the ha'ora of a higher principle. So there, kasher ha'novi hu gamkin chocham godel. When the novi is also not just a novi, but also a chocham godel, a very big chocham, very profound chocham, yesh ben yisrein. So then there is a supremacy. Gam behanavua shemasik is hamahus hamizgal. Stop. Gam behanavua. Then there is a supremacy in the nevuah itself, even though nevuah is mamash the real thing. But the fact that he is a chocham godel, that enhances his nevuah, the hasagah that he has in nevuah. How? Shemasig as hamahus hamizgal aloi be'efen aliyes. That the mahus that is gala mahus of the nevuah that comes through, that's mizgala to him, he is masig that be'efen aliyes in a superior manner. Because he is also a chocham, he sees where this mahus is coming from. He sees the truth behind it, and therefore he's massing it in a much higher manner. And as we explained, in a broad way of explaining it is that he does not go through. He sees something. Okay, I see it. It has to be true because I see it. Chocham goes beyond it. It's not that it's being his struggles with choshech, but he sees the reality itself. Doesn't not to the struggle, and therefore he has the efanaliyes. So it's Reish Samach Vav, that hemshech. It says, "V'gam beriyo de chochma yesh hilukim madregis." That it says over there that chochma is an infant reiyah. That even in reiyah the chochma yesh hilukim madregis, there are different madregis. Vezehu, and there we talking only between the Riyah the Chochmah. Riyah the Chochmah is b'riyas ein hasagah. Riyah the Chochmah is the mind's eye. It's true, it's a level of Riyah, but it's in the mind's eye. Or Nevuah hi k'mei riyas ha'ayin. Nevuah is superior to Riyas ein hasagah. The element of Riyah in Nevuah is superior to Riyah the Chochmah. Because it's Riyas Ayin, it's mamish seeing by the eye. Shah nevuah nechakov and it's tyra b'moichel. Because the nevuah, when the nevuah is nechakov, is impressed, when it's tyra b'moichel and it has been formed in his mind. So Riyas ein hasagah and Riyas ha'ayin, the physical ayin. A physical ayin is superior in terms of the effect of the re'iyah than the re'iyah ein hasagah. We explained this in the past. Re'iyas ein hasagah is like seeing with your eye, with your mind's eye. It's extremely clear. However, its clarity goes along and it is supported by the fact that it makes sense. Your seichel can relate to it. It's clear, but its clarity is not because it is true, but because it makes sense to you. Although you actually see it, but it makes sense. The is Ayin, and the of seeing with your flesh eye is seeing is not dependent on your processing of what you see. It is seeing the reality itself. Nevuah, this is the difference in Nevuah. Nevuah is the ears Ayin hamahus. But it doesn't go through his process at all. In the chochmah is the ears and hasagah. And this is why it says Nevuah nechkokov and it started b'meichel. The Nevuah is ingrained, is embossed, so to speak, in his mayach, because he saw the reality itself, the Metzius itself, like we speak all the time. And yet still, tzorich leima, we have to recognize the kasher hu chochem godol, that if the Navi is also a chochem godol, is also a great chochem, which means his mayach is in tremendous sensitivity and tremendous development. Shezehu ilui hakeli shalei. This represents a superior keli in klei mayach. Also, then chekikas v'tzir hamahus. So then the chekika v'tzir hamahus that occurs in the Nevuah, who bechinas gilui yeshir, is in a manner that is much. Is more revealed. This is explaining the first element that he said, that when there is gilui when there is hasagah hamahus, and there is also a gilui of ha'ora, the gilui ha'ora enhances the hasagah hamahus. This is what happened. This is the Navi. The Navi is also a Chacham. So even the Chacham is only the ears in hasagah, and the Navi has the ears who Ayin mamash, and therefore it's in style mamechet. The reality itself has been imprinted in his mayach. But if he is also a Chacham, his mayach is more sensitive to this type of imprint. And therefore, it has the Nevuah is with greater clarity.
How do we have? We were just finished talking about how through chochmah, through seichel, one is able to be sensitive to the aura of the reality itself, and therefore one is able to, so to say, witness what's there, not by how he interprets it. That's what we finished talking until we start reading inside, right? About Ha'ora, about the whole thing that. Okay.
No, there are two separate things. It's true, but there are two different things. First of all, the Ha'ora brings him. The Gilui Ha'ora reveals to him that there is this truth, this reality. Then, when he has hasagah hamahus, the hasagah hamahus acquires this additional effect of the truth element.
So now we seem to be that we're saying that when Rebbe makes us note about Ein HaSeichel, right? Ein HaSeichel is modified. It has a limit because it's only you said it only gets what it's able to understand in through seichel, right? So how these two things go together? We said that through seichel we're sensitive to what's being shown. which is not what I'm able to get through my seichel, but rather what's being shown. I mean, what's being shown to me is not limited by my seichel.
Re'iyas ein hasagah. Because it's re'iyas ein hasagah, it has to go through your seichel. Your seichel has to agree with it, so to speak. Otherwise, you don't have the re'iyah.
So how is seichel able to agree to something that's totally just there without any modifications, like without anything to hold on to? We're talking about a motivation.
So that's, I don't know exactly what we're referring to. What we are saying here is that if he's a chochmah and also a novi, then the novi has a re'iyah that is superior to the re'iyah ein hasagah. It's a re'iyah mamash, a re'iyah Ayin mamash.
Right, but the way we explained ha'ara before, the ha'ara which would correspond to the chochmah in this mashal was the tzaddik who learns from his mother, who just gets it directly, without his seichel. You know, it comes direct.
Yeah, but that does not translate in hasagah. Yes, he has hasagah. The novi has the hasagah, and his hasagah is enhanced as a result. That's something else already.
No, in other words, in this mashal, there's the chacham and the navi. The chacham is the one that has the ha'ara. So that's correlated to the mashal when we had the tzaddik, Sheva Yipol tzaddik come, that which the tzaddik gets from his mother. That's the chacham aspect. That's the ha'ara.
Right.
So there we said that it comes totally not through kalim, it's just osmosis. Here we're talking about something that he has to agree with in his own seichel, which seeming is kind of a. I think Avram and I are both having trouble correlating those two. The two explanations of ha'ara.
That seichel that he gets and then Sheva Yipol tzaddik come is not a normal process of seichel.
Right.
I get it. He did not accept it. It was given
Right,
to him.
and that's what we're calling the mila of that, because the mila is that he didn't have to. It's the reality itself, not him. It's a ha'ara of the reality itself.
Okay.
And here,
But it's not the re'iyah. It's a ha. In terms of what he sees, okay, I said the reality of the deal is not because he sees it, but because his mother sees it. So it has that effect.
So, but isn't it that why we said that Chocham is Odif Menovi? Because he sees what's being shown, not what he sees.
We're using the same terminology in a confusing way. The Chocham, the union that he sees what is being shown is, the principle is that the Chocham relates to the source of the Chocham rather than to what he sees. This is the beetle of the Chochmah, to the source of it. So that's not a mahus, a mahus comprehension.
but he relates with his Ayin HaSeichel. That's in other words, he relates, but the point here is that he's relating through the Ayin HaSeichel, the seeing.
Right. And what is the Ayin HaSeichel? The Sichli element in this is that which he is able to. But there is a Maila in the Chocham. The Ha'ora that comes to Chocham. What's the Ha'ora? This means he's able to see and understand that's not a ha'ora, that's a mahus. What is the ha'ora element? The ha'ora element is where it's coming from.
So which part gives advantage or whatever? How do you say it to nevuah? Which one? The source, ha'ora, or
The ha'ora.
Oh, okay, good. That's what.
The ha'ara part.
The ha'ora part. Because there, even though he sees, in the way he sees, but the ha'ora enhances that sight and says, this is, what you're seeing is real.
So when we say that the chocham should be, when the novi should the novi be such a chocham, chocham godel, it means that he should have a hasagah in the inyonim, in the matters in which nevuah was was talking about, or is that this mila that he was able to just see what's being shown instead of.
No, it's a chochem, it's a chochem. They're two different things. Two different things. It's a chochem godel. And the reason of chochmah is that he relates to he has the ha'ora of the higher madrega.
Ha'ora of the higher madrega, in other words, a reality that's being shown. Or
reality is not what's being shown, but where it's coming from.
right, where it's coming from. Yes, that's what means chocham godel. But isn't that a prerequisite to nevuah anyway? I mean, how can you become a novi without being a chocham? I mean, isn't it you need to have that in order to be a novi?
Look in the Rambam. He'll teach you how to become a novi.
Well, I think that's what it says, that the novi has to be a chocham.
Not a chochem godel. A chochem, there is a chochem odif min novi.
Okay, no, I'm not going to
He has
become a
to,
novi.
he has to purify himself and so forth. Probably gain him sheleg, roll in the snow.
Oh.
Both the Chacham and the Navi have a mahus. The Chacham has the mahus of the hasagah, and the Navi also has this mahus, which we say is the Ayin, Ayin.
The mahus hasagah is not the real mila.
The mila is where it's coming from. That's the ha'ara. And the Navi has, in the Nevuah, that's a different kind of mahus. It's even a bigger, a greater mahus than an hasagah.
It's an Ayin.
The Iyas Ayin, that's the mahus. So why are we comparing that to the Ayin hasagah? Because that's not the ha'ara aspect of it. The ha'ara aspect.
No, it's not comparing. It's pointing out that even though that the year of a Navi is superior to the year of Chacham,
Because it comes from the Ayin Gash, Ayin Re'ir Mamish, rather than
it's mamish inside.
nevertheless.
But if he is also a Chacham, then it's nistayer in a different way.
Because the Chacham has where it's coming from.
Because the Chacham
Has the ha'ara. Sorry.
They're two separate inyonim. Then the hasagas of the mahus is in a superior manner. Why is it in a superior manner? We're not talking about a high manner. We're talking about hasagas hamahus that the Navi has is in a superior manner. Even though it's nistayah b'meicha, he sees it. But because he's a chacham, it becomes nistayah b'meicha more emphatically.
More what?
More emphatically, more deeply. The moyach of a chacham is geared to be influenced, because the whole avoid over there is the beetle, that the refinement of the moich, on the choch. Because of the beetle, because of the refinement of the moich, therefore what is nitztaya then becomes nitztaya and imbued deeply, more deeply than normally by sight.
So I could literally pass through it. He could get a nebuah and give it over, and it's not necessarily sinks into him. In other words, you're saying? It's saying here it's
right. It sinks into him because it's taya b'meichel, but by the chochem it's taya more deeply, because his meich is more sensitive. Okay. All right. Perhaps after we finish with this, we'll be ready to go for nevuah. Which one do you choose, nevuah or chacham?
We have to wait till the season changes.
first you have to get out the fork and the knife, and then
We have to wait for the snow. We've got a few months to go.
Yeah.